Hey, I'm Ron Drodos from keyboardimprov.com, and welcome to my journey through the real book number 49. Going through real book, I have the 6th edition, the most current, and just going through every tune. So, taking them as they come in order. So this is Herbie Hancock's Butterfly. It's a really great tune, and people know it, although it's not one of his top 5. It's not like Watermelon Man or Chameleon or Cantaloupe Island, but it's certainly up there. It's a really fun tune to play, mainly because when you improvise, it's just on the F minor 7th chord. So that gives you lots of opportunities. You can use one scale throughout, like F Dorian. Or you can use just the part of that, which would be like the pentatonic scale. Or you can even use something like C pentatonic over it, which gives you the 9th and some of the other tones. Or you can do some other, like sidestepping, like you play a little bit of F minor and a little F sharp minor. Then you come back in. And actually, that reminded me of a quote from Herbie himself. He said that it's not hard to go outside, but it's a little harder to come back in. He said that was the real challenge in that. And he's a master at that. Sometimes he gets so far away, or he's doing these polyrhythms, and how's he going to land on the beat? And he knows where that is. He knows where the harmony is going to arrive. It's like the sort of, the road's going this way, and he's going off here, and then he comes right back in at the right time. He's really a master at that, so check him out from that point of view. So Butterflies from the album Thrust. It's from 1974, and it was a follow-up album to Headhunters, which was the big hit for him as a solo artist. He had left Miles Davis a few years before. He was on his own. And these albums, it's a little hard to believe now, but they made with the Billboard Top 40, that they made the charts. I think I was reading, Thrust made it to something like number 13 on the American pop charts. That's like what Taylor Swift would do now in 2018, or, whoever, or, hip hop, right? And so this is a very interesting time, and it's hard for us to imagine now, but instrumental music was still very, very popular. It didn't dominate the charts. Like it would have in the 30s or 40s. In 30s or 40s, an instrumental version of, a Gershwin tune probably, had as much chance of getting to the top of the charts as a vocal version, if not more. Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, these are instrumental things in the swing era. That was long gone by the 70s, but it was only 40 years gone. It wasn't almost a century gone, right? And even classical music, you had Leonard Bernstein in the 50s and 60s, maybe even early 70s at this time, still doing his young people's concerts, which were televised, big hits, international sensations, where people would watch on TV. They would watch him talk about classical music. Those days are long gone. It's still people, people like classical, but hey, I'm Ron Drodos from keyboardimprov.com. Welcome to the 49th video in my journey through the real book. I have the 6th edition here, just going through it tune by tune, and I hope you will too. Follow me along and also play these tunes yourself. Even if you're just touching on some of them, use it to expand your repertoire. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this. Also to challenge myself. This is Butterfly by Herbie Hancock. It's from his album Thrust, which was released in 1974. Butterfly is not one of his huge tunes like Chameleon or Cantaloupe Island or the Watermelon Man, but it's up there. It's up there, partly because it's on this great album. Thrust was, it's hard to believe now in 2018, or if you're watching this in the future, that in 1974, an instrumental album could still make it to the pop charts, very high up on the pop charts. I was reading, I think this made it to number 13 on the pop charts, alongside rock songs and pop songs of the time, Stevie Wonder, things like that, and Elton John for that matter. So you'd see like Elton John's song, whatever, from 74, he was doing a little after Goodbye Yellow Brick Road or something, and then Herbie Hancock's album Thrust for the album charts would be right under it. That's a huge thing. But But think of it this way. In 1974, we were still only 40 years after the swing era. 40, 45 years after the swing era, when instrumental big band tunes would dominate those pop charts with In the Mood or Glenn Miller tunes, A String of Pearls, things like that. So we're 40 years past that, so those generations still remembered when instrumental music was that popular in the pop charts. It's still popular now for people to play, but you're not going to turn on a top 40 radio station and hear much instrumental music, right? I remember my piano teacher, Billy Taylor. I got one of his old albums. I found it at a tag sale or something, an album from the late 50s. And I put it on, and it's jazz trio, piano, bass, and drums, playing jazz tunes. And I was surprised that some of the recordings were only 3.5 minutes long. I'm like, oh, you didn't really stretch out. So I called him, and I said, I loved it, but I'm curious, why didn't you stretch out more? And he goes, Ron, you forget that at that time, we could still get radio play. He could do a Gershwin tune, and it would still get played on the top 40 radio station, next to, Elvis or whoever else was around in the 50s. So we're not too far past that time when Herbie Hancock could do that. So he was able to release jazz-based tunes with really out there chord changes. It's F minor 7th, and he might go to F sharp, for a little while. Do that sidestepping where we go up a half step and back down or whatever. He's taking it out, but it's over a smooth, what we call now a smooth jazz or R&B beat, so that it's palatable to people who are more pop oriented. And he's using sounds, a combination of instrumental or acoustic instrumental sounds and synthesizers at the time, and some sort of space age sounds that were very new at the time. However, he's not just selling out, like a lot of musicians at the time thought Herbie was selling out, by going more pop. Because nowadays, listen to the original recording, Butterfly, he's got that bass clarinet really low at the same time for this melody, So you hear this edgy sound, these very high and low sounds at the same time that you wouldn't necessarily hear even in smooth jazz now. He was being commercial, but he was being true to his own artistic sensibility. So I'm going to give the tune a play, and this big open question, it's great for the F minor 7th. What do? Do you use the pentatonic scales? Another one, you could use a C minor over the F. Do you stay within it? One thing I've noticed that Herbie does is at the beginning of his solos, he'll often play simply and just get into the groove, and then let it take off. He's sort of getting into that groove in a simple way, and then working from within that, rather than just coming out like so many other jazz players might. It's kind of, I think, one of his secrets, if you will. All right, enjoy Butterfly. tune to play. Really, just about every of Herbie's tunes is a lot of fun to play. They always stretch me. You know, even if I'm playing something, you know, that it's really standard, like Watermelon Man, that's kind of a straight-ahead bluesy thing with an extension, they kind of stretch me because he put his own stamp on it, you know. There's always something, like even this F minor to A in the beginning. It's kind of shocking, you know. It's what I think in traditional music harmony would be called a cross relation. We have a flat key going to a key that's very unrelated, A minor. It's got a, you know, all white notes, or with the F sharp, maybe a G sharp in there. Kind of, it's like, I don't know, you know, like these paintings by Salvador Dali or something that might have very, not just contrasting elements, but elements that don't usually go together. But somehow it works, or maybe it's meant to be a little shocking or just wake you up or something. So have fun with this. Check it out if you've never played it. It's worth it just to try that and see how it goes. And thanks for being here as always. I'll see you in the next Real Book video.